Go ahead.
Good morning, patrons. I'm so happy to have you here. And these lessons are going to be a lot easier for me because I could start to imagine you out there in your different countries and the people that I already know. So I'm very happy to be with you. Our first lesson was using red, yellow, and blue, and we made the foundational painting exercise in Wet on Wet, which is yellow above and blue below, and they came together to create a green. And then in the second part of my series last month, I showed how to create a whole landscape out of this color composition. Today I'm going to show you that this color composition, yellow expanding and blue contracting, can be used for very many different kinds of painting exercises, including making a specific plant. So let's get started with that. So remember I told you how to create a wet pack in one of my free videos, and if you haven't already reviewed that, please go to How to Soak the Paper and learn how to do that. And you might even want to find out about these Stockmar paints and order some off of Amazon. I also have a free video online at Patreon about how to mix the paints. So right over here is a wet pack where I've already soaked the paper, and so I can just come and get my sheet, which is perfectly prepared, and put this wet sheet right on my board. Next, I'm going to take a large brush and wet it, and I'm going to start again with yellow. This time I'll let yellow work from the upper corner, it doesn't matter, upper right or upper left, and it'll stream not like a sun but like light downwards into the page. And you notice that I'm doing a wash here, so I'm getting more and more water on my brush and just coming around the edges of the yellow. And this is great for young children and elders, people with special needs. Anyone can allow yellow to expand and get lighter and lighter like that, from the upper portion of the picture moving into the lower portion. Then wash your brush off, get it nice and clean, and let's take blue. And blue is going to again contract down below. This can be done very freely in a way that you find most appealing, but most of us will not like a very hard edge between yellow and blue. So I'll just take a little bit of water again and soften that as it comes up into the yellow, creating green. Now, since I've already got blue on my brush, I'm going to start down here in the blue and have a gesture coming up. And this gesture is quickly going to become a plant. And as the plant grows, perhaps the leaves will get smaller and smaller as they go up the stem. And I may want it to straighten out a little bit. And I keep mixing my brush across the blue here, and that way I can bring it up and begin to shape those leaves into forms, simply by making my brush outline the green blobs that I've already created and make a small leaf. The leaves may alternate up the stem, so one be lower, the next be higher, or they might go exactly symmetrically to each other on either side of the stem. It doesn't really matter. Just enjoy yourself creating the plant form as it comes up the stem. We get to the top. We're going to wash our brush off, dry it on the rag, and we'll take our third color, which, as you know, is red from the primaries. Just a little bit of red, And I'm going to just allow this red to pop up here in a very free manner. It's very blobby, could be any kind of flower at this point. And while I have red on my brush, I'm going to bring it down here into the blue a little bit. Makes a little bit of purple. Now let's go through the steps again. You're going to need a very clean brush to go through the steps again, so wash off completely. Let's start with yellow. This time, tilt the yellow jar, make sure you have a clean brush, get some thick yellow from the bottom of the jar, and accentuate the yellow if you can. It's hard to make darker yellow on top of an already bright yellow, but we might be able to bring it around the forms. Let's try bringing some yellow right on top of the green. So we take this yellow, put it right on top of the green, and begin to paint the gesture of the plant again. And I could bring it down here into the blue. Now let's go back to blue. Wash off the brush, dry the brush on the rag, and take a little bit of the pigment blue from the bottom. Now watch what happens. Wow, I get a thick, rich green in which I am going to paint those leaves. And I let the leaves change a little bit every time I come up the plant. Every single time they're a little bit different. I may add a new one, or I change the shape of the old ones. And I certainly want to ground my plant down here. And then I'm going to come back to the red, wash off the brush, dry the brush, come back to red. And I'm just going to, again, very easily and freely create a flower gesture. I don't know what kind of a flower this is going to be. I'm thinking it might become a calendula because it sort of looks like a calendula, and I'll show that with my next video. But yours could be an iris, it could be a camellia, it could be anything. It could be something you made up from your imagination. Now this is the end of the first part of the video, but I just want to show one more technique, and that is the lift off. It's very important. So you take your brush, you wash your brush, and dry it on the rag gently. And with this dry brush, I can pull back anything I don't want. I call this the wipe and swipe because you get one wipe and then you get one swipe on the rag. This is easy to remember if you think of it as a wipe and a swipe. A wipe and a swipe. You can't keep wiping or you'll just be moving the color around. You have to dry off in between. And this way I can define the forms a little bit more. I might even want to create some root-like forms here. Underground. This is all I'm going to do for this part of the video, and if you watch my second part, which is on Patreon in the Imagination series, you will get to see how I turn this into an actual calendula flower. Okay, I'm very excited to see your paintings too, so send them to me and I'll post them on Patreon.